Return to me.
Hello once again. Genuinely. Thank you to those of you who have made these first two episodes worth it and enjoyable and feeling like it's paying off. To those of you who liked, who commented, your names are right here because that's how much I appreciate you. I'm making you part of the pod. We cracked 100 likes on the last episode. I believe there was 40 plus comments. I don't see why we can't double those numbers. Let's get to 200 on this one. Tell your friends about it. Spread the word. Share the clips. Let's continue to build. Let's dive into this. Right off the bat, I'm going to let you know I'm recording at a time of day where I'm paranoid that this sun is going to be moving throughout the episode. I hope it doesn't look weird because this is an edited podcast. That's how I bring it to you. So concentrated and high octaned. So we'll see how it looks. Hopefully it doesn't look shitty because it will annoy the fuck out of me if it does. Anywho, but yeah, had basically the first day with my kid all alone since he's been alive in this world. My wife went back to work today. So he's down for the night because he's a fucking G and he's sleep trained. My number one piece of information for anybody who has a kid or is having one, as soon as they hit 4 months, fucking sleep train them. It's a rough couple of days, but you let them cry it out. They learn how to put themselves down, and then everybody's life is way better. Everybody's rested. Everybody's happy. Everybody's got a routine that they can get into and get shit done. Nobody's walking around like a zombie anymore that's on edge. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, this first 4 months, difficult. It's literally like, it's like you and your wife or partner or whoever the fuck you decided to raise a child with, you're no longer husband and wife or whatever you're doing. You're just two coworkers in an insane asylum. I can't believe the parallels between having a fucking brand new baby and working in a nut house. I mean, they just shit on themselves. They don't clean themselves up. You need to do it, okay? They're drug addicts whose drug of choice is tit juice, and it's the only thing that'll calm them down. When they're raging for the juice, you need to hit them with it. It's like their methadone. Then when they're really young, you got to fucking swaddle them. You put them in their straitjacket. Then you lay them in a bed that's surrounded by bars, and then you walk out and observe them on surveillance tape to make sure they don't kill themselves. It's a lot of parallels, and that's what you and your wife are. You're just coworkers in an insane asylum. And truly, I'll be real for a second. I, for a long time, never thought I would have a kid. I didn't think it would be my type of thing. I didn't think I'd be into it. And now that I have one, not doing that would have been a huge mistake. I don't know where you're at in your life. Have a good time. Wait as long as you want. But I would do it, dude. It's crazy. It's a lot of stress, but it's a good type of stress. Although some of it's not a good type of stress because you can't believe how shitty the fucking world is. When it comes, you really learn. You would think that the one genre of people that the United States gave a fuck about, or at least just wouldn't bend over and pound, are babies. But the amount of work that goes in to not filling your kid with toxins when they first are being brought home is unacceptable. You shouldn't have to do research to find diapers, wipes, a crib, car seats that aren't covered in flame retardants and chemicals that lead to all types of fucking issues. One of them being sudden infant death syndrome. You'd think you wouldn't have to research endlessly to avoid that. It would just be a thing that was the status quo of it all. But this country doesn't even give a fuck about babies, dude. The amount of formulas that have been recalled because companies didn't give a fuck that certain ingredients in it were leading to severe gastrointestinal damage that was irreversible. Similac is the name of that formula. Don't use it if you're going to use formula. Why are there chemicals in baby wipes? This kid in the news the other day, because he had to get rushed to the emergency room, a child, a toddler, because he got a hold of a Kirkland baby wipe and he sucked on it, and that shit is riddled with toxins. Just put water in the baby wipes. Cloth and water. Why does it have to be anything other than that? Oh, probably because Kirkland owns some chemical plant that they get money off of if they put the chemicals into this product. And it's just a fucking closed loop system where the money never leaves. It's only made and added to the pile that they have. A couple babies die. So what to them? Dude, baby fucking Johnson & Johnson, the baby powder had asbestos in it. How hard is it to just not put asbestos in the BP? It's got to be not that hard. I'm not deeply rooted in the baby powder industry, business, etc., but I got to imagine filling the bottles with asbestos is a relatively easy thing to avoid. But don't fuck with kids, dude. Having a kid is the best, though. Yeah, I can't tell you how often I'm holding my kid and I think about the amount of puss I could be slamming if having a kid didn't also entail being tied down to another person. It's like this fucking Greek tragedy where you're gifted the greatest wingman of all time. You literally leave your home and everybody just flocks to you. Oh my God, he's gorgeous. He's so cute. He's adorable. Well, guess what? You know who looks a lot like him? Me. So you might as well be telling me that I'm gorgeous. Let's find a room to get steamy in. But you can't do that. It's like this weird curse. The only people who could do it, I guess, is, people who had the good fortune of having their wives pass away during childbirth. Obviously a joke. And even if that was the case, you'd still have no time to get any puss. You're bogged down by being a single parent. I wouldn't have made it. If I was alone during the first, even now still, but especially the first 4 months of this kid's life, we'd both be dead. You understand why marriage and family and all this stuff was, kind of conceived, because it's the only real healthy way to make it through life. Every person, comic especially, that I know that just goes the entire time without ever getting married or having a kid, they are in a dark place. And yeah, sleeping around, of course, it's great, but you do that when the time is right, and then you get out. It's like a bank heist. You don't linger. The amount of memories that just sleeping with people creates, I think it's a real benefit in life to be promiscuous. Have a good time. I will never forget the time I learned how much women hated men keeping their socks on during sex. I slept with this girl. We were cuddling afterwards. She noticed I had my socks on, and she was like, "Were those on the entire time?" Yeah. And she was appalled. I was like, it didn't even cross my mind to take them off. I could barely get my pants off quick enough. The only reason those were coming off is because it was a barrier between us banging. Socks present no obstacle. And she was like, "That's never again, dude. It's disgusting." And she said because it reminds her of old people having sex. She feels like it's hard for them to bend over and take them off, so they probably just leave them on. And she was also like, just aesthetically, it's upsetting to be completely naked than have an abrupt layer of apparel at your ankles. She was like, "How would you feel if before we fucked, I just put on a pair of gloves?" What kind of gloves? Like tight leather ones that go up to your elbow? It could be pretty hot. And then she said mittens. I knocked one person up, which is definitely a winning record for me because, I don't want to brag, but been inside quite a few humans. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's the feeling you get when, first of all, the chick messaged me. I was kind of quasi-dating her. We weren't super serious. We didn't even live on the same side of the country. But she decided to hit me up and let me know about it on the day of my grandfather's funeral. I got a text from her being like, "Hey, we got to talk." I tried calling her. This is what kind of woman she was. I tried calling her. And she fucking declined it and then texted and was like, "We can do this over text." And I said, "All right, what's good?" She said, "I'm pregnant." And I said, "Haha, what's really good?" And she said, "No, I'm pregnant." And then I made a huge mistake and said, "From me?" Question mark. And which I guess insinuated she might be a whore. At least that's how she took it. And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh." Tried to, after fucking up the first message, trying to figure out how to subtly say, "What are we going to do about it?" And luckily she was like, "Don't worry. it's going to be taken care of. And the feeling that I got when I learned that I had inseminated this woman wasn't a feeling of panic. It was like a primordial instinct of accomplishment. I was like, you're goddamn right, you're pregnant. I got evolutionarily ambitious semen. I got cum that latches on even when I'm pulling out. That's how much of a man I am. I'm a man's man. I bet that abortion won't even take. It was an interesting feeling and an interesting day to be at your grandfather's funeral watching him being sent off at the same time that your could-have-been kid is as well. I wonder if they cross paths on their way up there. I don't know. You guys believe in heaven and hell? I don't know what I believe in. I believe in energy, I guess. You got to believe in energy. Can't believe in heaven or hell because, at least I can't, because I know exactly where I'm going if those are things. Having a kid is the best thing of all time, but you got to experience singlehood to its fullest. Just try to pick up women. It doesn't matter if you fail or not. That was the biggest thing I wish I knew. Earlier on, it's just like, dude, don't be a fucking creep, but give it a chance. Attempt to pick up a woman. If she's not into it, read the signal and move on, and your life will continue on. You don't die. You try to pick up MILFs, dude. So fun. In a grocery store one time, I made eye contact with this hot older woman. She had sushi on the conveyor belt. And, it's weird, I think, to buy sushi in a grocery store. Sushi to me anywhere other than a sushi restaurant is fucking nuts. But I said, how's the sushi here? And she was like, it's all right. My kids like it. And I was like, just what I was looking for. MILF City. And she said, if you want really good sushi, go to this place, Kotobuki. It's fantastic. I'm there all the time. I said, all right, I'll check it out. Maybe I'll see you there. And she was like, yeah, maybe. And I was like, we could make this a definitely if you give me your number. In the moment, I thought, home run, fucking grand slam, slickest shit I've ever said in my life. And she wasn't into it. She said, excuse me. Excuse me. I am old enough to be your mother. And I wanted to say, I know my mother and you're not her. So no need for that sentence. Also, I'm well aware of how old you are. That's why this is hot. Because if you were 20 and looked like this, fucking gross. Stop smoking and apply some sunscreen because you're aging way too rapidly. But you got to take chances. You get shot down in front of a cashier at Wild by Nature and you live to see another day. It's not a big deal. But you got to shut that shit down at a certain point. Like, monogamy is the way to go if you want to live a lengthy, fulfilling, healthy life. Monogamy is like eating healthy in the realm of sexual activity. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to think clear. Sleeping around with people, it's like eating fast food all the time. It's fucking great, especially when you're wasted. But one day you're going to look in the mirror and be sad at what you see. But like eating healthy, it is hard to do. It takes commitment, perseverance, willpower. Because there are some days where you wake up and you're like, if I have to put another fucking piece of grilled chicken and sweet potato into my mouth, I'm going to dry heave. Would it be the worst thing in the world if I went out and bought a bar of dark chocolate? Would the chicken even find out? Would it really hurt her? Yes, it would. And it would hurt you too. Put the dark chocolate down. And just put a different type of seasoning on the chicken. Spice it up. And yeah, dark chocolate in this analogy is black women. I need to start abusing more substances, dude. It'll help me I need to disassociate. Coffee's really the only substance I abuse. And it, if anything, it just makes you more present in your anxiety. But I love it. It's so good. I like alcohol too, but I can't stand feeling like shit the next day. Weed, I can't tell you the last time I've smoked weed and not regretted it. I wish it did for me what it did for other people. But my brain doesn't work except for having the ability to focus on the worst outcomes that could possibly take place in life. Or I just become borderline retarded and can't function in society. I think the last time I got really high, not the last time, but one of the more traumatizing times I got super stoned was, junior high school. Maybe I was 14 or something in the parking lot smoking weed with a couple of friends. And the plan was to see a rated R movie. We were going to go in there, say we were seeing this PG-13 movie that was on the same side of the theater as the R one, get access to that side of the theater, and then go into the R one. So we finish smoking, we go in, my two friends go up, do their thing, it's my turn, I get up to the guy, completely forget what movie I'm supposed to say we're seeing, and I stared into this guy's eyes for what felt like an hour and a half. And then he finally broke the awkwardness and said, "What's your number?" And I said, "I'm not gay." And then he said, "Why did you just say that?" And then I said, "You just asked me for my number." And he said, "What's your number is the name of the movie your friends just got tickets to see." And then my heart exploded. I can't read the signs, the signals when I'm high in public. I think everybody I'm talking to thinks that I need to be straitjacketed and sent away. Every time I'm talking to somebody while I'm stoned, I'm thinking, there's no way that they have any idea what I'm talking about. The way they're looking at me is funny. They look confused. Everybody always looks confused to me when I'm talking to them while I'm high. If they're talking to me, forget about it. I'm thinking about anything other than what they're saying. I'm thinking about how I look retrieving the information that they're giving to me. Completely uninterested in the actual information. Being high is a nightmare for me. Created good memories though as a child because I smoked a ton. I didn't always used to be this way. Because that movie theater thing, it didn't stop me. It's just one that sticks out in my memory. But I continued to get high every day for years until probably the beginning of college. Until I started to do stand-up comedy. Because I couldn't, even when I wasn't a paranoid person on weed, still being high and then the idea of getting on stage and trying to be funny, that I could not deal with that reality while stoned. So stand-up was more important to me than being high, so I stopped getting high. Psychedelics are good. I don't do them as often as I like to, because for me, I like to be in nature when I do it. Once I move up to the property upstate, I'll be having days. Once a week, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going deep into the property here. I'm going to go watch some trees, breathe, and I'll be back. Because, dude, every time I trip and I fucking go into nature, I come back just brain rewired in the best possible way. If you have not done mushrooms, do them. I was mad weary about doing them. I didn't do them until the first time I did them, I was 28 or 9 when I had met my wife and she had done them a ton. So I felt comfortable around her doing them, and the pandemic was happening. There was no stand-up. Mainly the reason I was worried about doing them, I was like, oh, it's going to change the way I fucking think. It's going to change the way my brain works. Maybe I won't be funny anymore. That's not what happens. You just become kind of the best version of yourself. The level of my fucking self-confidence the week after I tripped hard for the first time was better than it's ever been in my entire life. If you're somebody who's struggling with a little bit of, insecurities, a little bit of depression, I say take them, but don't abuse them. Don't take them as like a drug that's for partying. Take them as a thing to reset your fucking chi. And it's like, you can't even explain, yeah, all right, shit moods, and it's kind of, I'm just going to see shit while I see dragons. No, it's like, it's almost like if you haven't done shrooms, you've been experiencing a life with a condom on. Taking shrooms removes the condom. And sex with a condom, it's still good. You're not going to pass it up. But when you get the go-ahead to take that thing off, and then you get in there, you're like, oh, I feel everything now. It's just HD life. High definition, 4K appreciation. You're like, I can't believe I've been missing all this the whole time, and it's been right in front of me.